You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. And live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, Robert Santana. He's the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Central Orange County. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Ron, for having me.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. I look at the celebration. Sometimes I just have to say,
It is what it is.
National Checkers Dogs in Politics Day. I guess dogs in politics would probably be better than what we have in politics now. So I guess not knowing what checkers dogs are, I don't know what that is. So, but anything to do with politics, I mean, politicians right now, I think anything time we stay away from politicians, we're probably in good shape. The dogs have to be one step above a politician. I shouldn't say that because there's probably some politicians listening to us today. National Teal Talk Day. Energize Day, day after autumn equinox. Restless Legs Awareness Day. I don't know, where do we come up with these things, guys? National Snack Stick Day. Now we're getting closer to it. If it's food, you know, I'm probably there. And having beaten anorexia, I think I'm going to go with National American Pot Pie Day. Don't get into those conversations. We're not talking about that kind of pot pie. So we're talking about just a good old American pot pie. Where do you get your favorite pot pies at? Used to be going down to Cheesecake Factory. They had a pretty good one. I don't know if they're even still around. I know they filed bankruptcy during the pandemic, but we'll watch on continuing on some of these conversations. Let's move along before I get myself in too much trouble today. Let's take a look at the markets. What's going on? Dow Jones Industrial Average now down 105 points. S&P down almost 26 points. NASDAQ down 139.88. Ow! Gold down 39. Oil down 4 cents. Let's take a look at the 10-year Treasury. Up almost a basis point. Not quite there. Not saying a whole lot on that one either. But you're still at positive. Put your money in the Treasury, 10 years, you get a 0.68 return on that. Although in Germany, you can go put your money there if you like, and you get a negative 0.50. 10-year bond, negative interest rate. Germany's the only one right now that is in the negative, so I guess there's some things that are going on over there that are probably not the place to be investing, at least in their economy as we speak right now. What else is going on in the markets? What's going on in the world? Have you been watching anything going on? Is it nice and quiet out there right now? Yeah, you know better than that. There's always something crazy. Jim Jordan, you gotta love Jim Jordan. He's out there on his own all the time doing things that he thinks is right. Representative Congressman from Ohio. So he's pushing a resolution now against hacking the Supreme Court. And that's where the Democrats are talking about the idea of if Joe Biden wins, they want to put another 6 justices on the Supreme Court. Could you imagine who Joe Biden might put on the Supreme Court? Of course, that would be if he remembers that he's president and is supposed to do that. Throw that out there. And that's if any of us are still alive, because last I heard, there's 350 million people in the United States, and the coronavirus has killed, according to Joe Biden, 200 million people. That would be like 2 out of every 3 people in the United States have died from coronavirus. Now, the only thing that I've heard that if Joe Biden was correct, that might help traffic a little bit. Just throw that out there. I used to have a, there it is. Yeah, that for those of you that think I'm serious, that was just a joke. But in any event, Jim Jordan is pushing a resolution against packing the Supreme Court. Where do you think that's going to go in the Nancy Pelosi House of Representatives? It probably won't be going too far. We know her ideas.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Well, they did pass one in the House of Representatives. Now, generally, under this Congress, most items that Nancy Pelosi passes are just for show. She knows they're going to go nowhere, but she thinks that she's got enough authority to do it anyway. Well, they did pass a bill finally, at least to keep the government running all the way until December 11th. What other entity can possibly work on a budget like that? Right? I mean, you've got what is that, 3 months, 2 months? Unbelievable how I can't count. Yes, I know that's the issue. But you think about that. They've got a budget through December 11th in a $4 trillion budget that they run. How do you do those kind of things? But I move right along. Let's see what else we've got going on in the news right now. Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee, hope and expect Amy Coney Barrett will be President Trump's Supreme Court nominee. That'll come out Saturday about 5 o'clock Eastern time. The president, I don't know why he's doing it Saturday at 5 Eastern time. Maybe he's going to make the reporters actually work for a living. They'll probably want to ask him about something stupid when he makes the comment, the nomination. But that is, that's the world we live in right now. So Amy Coney Barrett is the front runner right there. I'm sure, wait a second, she's got to get a great passing mark because the Democrats are all about women's equality. Oh, wait. Not conservative women. I guess that's it. But you know what the big gripe they have with Amy Coney Barrett? And you got to understand this. I can't understand it. I'm a Jewish guy, but here's the issue that they've got with Amy Coney Barrett. She's Catholic. Now, why in the world is that an issue? You got to wonder what's going on in our society and in politics nowadays. Let's keep on going, see what's moving it. Oh, the news of the day. You got to love this one. It's another one of those really, really important stories. Wait for it. Here it comes. Cindy McCain has endorsed Joe Biden. That is really, really important news to somebody. I don't know who, but yes, Cindy McCain, the widow of Senator John McCain. Does that surprise anybody? The president and John McCain really didn't get along too well. You remember his famous thumbs down? But that's making the news. That was some of the headlines this morning. I couldn't understand that one. Seattle decides, apparently they've got some brains in Seattle City Council. Maybe not a lot, but more than the mayor. The mayor in Seattle decided he was going to cut the police budget by $3 million. I don't get it. But, something, the city council voted 7-2. There are still a couple of idiots on the city council there. They voted 7-2 to override the mayor's veto or on cutting the budget. They wanted to cut the police budget by 50% in Seattle. And they wonder why the federal government is saying we're not going to give you as much money because you're not using the money for what you're supposed to. Unbelievable. Well, how about CNN, the Cannabis News Network? Don Lemon, he's back on it again, talking about blowing up the entire system if the president is reelected. Think about that idea. That's coming from the head or the news anchor of what's supposed to be one of the top news organizations. Unbelievable. Kayleigh McEnany, another one from the Cannabis News Network. Jim Acosta, she has to put him in his place. That must have been fun. I missed that one. How about Colby Covington? I'm not an MMA guy, But he told the loser LeBron about he couldn't last 10 seconds with him. Has anybody heard LeBron have anything to say about the 2 police officers or sheriff's deputies that were shot last week? Yeah, finally LeBron's mouth is shut. Of course, he probably had problems last night because he didn't do so well, or the team didn't do so well. Moving right along. You know, I'm a lifelong Laker fan, and it doesn't bother me. I don't watch it anymore. I mean, the NBA, the NFL, you know, their ratings are all down a lot because of all of this social justice or injustice or promoting the Marxist and Black Lives Matter as a communist group, right? So, and I've already given you all the data to prove my point that they are, yes, indeed, a communist organization. So don't tell me that I don't know it, or I've given you the 3 ladies' names who run it. I've told you the 2 nonprofit organizations that launder the donations that go into Black Lives Matter. There's 2 of them. We've told you all that before. If you haven't heard it, you can go back and listen to all our broadcasts. It's about 1,000 of them, Ron Siegel Radio right now. RonSiegelRadio.com. I guess I got to tell you that .com so you know where exactly to find them. What else we got going on? There's a lot going on. We're going to have to Mitt Romney, another one of the Donald Trump supporters. Not really. But he did say, now here's the misrepresentation that's coming from the media on this one as well. Media is out there saying that he will vote for the president's nomination or nominee of the Supreme Court. Never said that. Did you listen to the interview himself? He said he would support a floor vote on a Supreme Court nominee, and based on their qualifications, he would make a decision which way to vote. Now, you know, with Mitt Romney, you have no idea which way he's going to vote because he was the only Republican that decided to vote for impeaching the president over a phone call with a foreign leader. So we know that Mitt Romney is not an individual you can count on. Just throw that out there. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to learn about the Boys and Girls Club. I don't know what they do. Well, maybe I do a little bit. But we're going to learn about it. Home builder confidence hits an all-time record. What credit score do you need to buy a car? All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694552.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes. And we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, first mortgage, any mortgage, Gold Star has got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Dow Jones now down 112 points. NASDAQ down 145 points. S&P 500 down 26 points. Ow! Not pleasant day if you're a bullish trader, right? The bears are doing okay. The mortgage-backed securities, they're up 2 basis points. That means interest rates, it's pretty flat, so it's not going to have much of an effect on interest rates, but that would tend to lead them down just a slight amount. 10-year Treasury, the yield on that, the interest rate on that, up 2 basis points. Now, everything I just said to you, you can find that on the super secret website, google.com. What'll take you longer to find is why all of that is happening. Well, the Mortgage Bankers Association released their mortgage application data for last week, showing that overall application volume was up 6.8% from the previous week. Last week, after a bit of a decline in applications, there were many news outlets, Diana Olick, that were saying it did not make sense to refinance any longer and that the refi boom was over due to so many already refinancing. You have to explain this to people. Now, how do you have somebody on a business channel, CNBC, Diana Olick, has no clue what's going on in one of the biggest sectors of the market in real estate? But, we just have to continue to give you the right information. Interest rates slightly up from the prior week. This is according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, 3.07% to 3.1%, 92 basis points, almost 1% lower than this time last year. So those people that are saying the refi boom is over, if you refied last year, you want to save another percent on your interest, you might think about refinancing again. FHFA, Federal Housing Finance Agency, released their house price index, which measures home price appreciation on a single-family home with the conforming loan amounts. Home prices rose 1% in July, up 6.5% year over year, which is even stronger than the 5.8% in the previous report and the 4.9% 2 months ago. Housing continues to move higher and higher. So we've talked about that before, that, again, you get these stations like CNBC that give you bogus information. If you were listening to them, you may not have bought a new house. You might have said, I don't want to buy a house, or I might get out of real estate. And you've been wrong, because think about what's going on. I know that interest rates are a lot better right now, which is helping your purchasing power. But if you take a look at your screen right now, if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv or any of our other video streams, you'll see the FHFA chart that shows these changes, up 1% month over month, up 6.5%. And then if you look down at the Pacific area, just in this one area, this would be for California, Washington, Oregon, up 1% month over month and up 5.9% year over year. So think about that concept. There's a lot going on. You need to be aware of it. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for the next mortgage, Gold Star, they've got the programs and the products. You need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 1990. So let's go to school. When was the last time you went to school? It's been a long time since I went to school, but I do like to learn. So today we get to learn about the Boys and Girls Clubs. What do they do? Robert Santana, he's the bigwig, CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Central Orange County. Welcome.
Thank you, Ron, for having me.
So tell us a little bit about, obviously we know that you're dealing with boys and girls. I kind of got that. I'm a simple guy.
Yeah.
I'm a simple guy. So tell us, what does the Boys and Girls Club do? What's the mission?
Well, first and foremost, we're a mentor organization. We believe in the power of mentorship. I'm going to make the assumption that you have benefited the same way that I have from the generosity of other people. We've all had people along the way, whether it's childhood or in our professional life, invest in us, help, support us along the way, whether we need guidance or when we need someone to help us get back on track. And so, Boys and Girls Club is a mentor organization. We provide support systems to families and mentors to kids, especially at those very critical years when they're looking for advice, for guidance, when they need support. As someone's going through puberty, there's a lot of confusion, and our staff are there to help them navigate through that process and through that phase of life.
Wow. So is it, who's the, obviously boys and girls, but what's the target? What's the target demographic of boys and girls?
So our age profile is, typically school age kids. So, age 5 all the way to 18. We have a separate strategy for how we serve our older kids or teenagers. So for the younger kids, it's traditionally after school programs. We also do a slate of intervention type services where we're on campus during the school day, providing resources for kids. We do literacy intervention. So kids that are not reading at grade level, we do targeted early literacy intervention to make sure that kids are provided the resources, the curriculum to get on track academically. We do sports and fitness and enrichment. And over the last decade or so, we've really transformed into a 21st century Boys and Girls Club. So our kids have access to robotics and coding. We have an esports platform, and believe it or not, we have kids that are flying drones. And so the idea is that we're preparing kids for the 21st century, for the global economy. We also know that as the world gets more advanced and the expectations are increased, kids will need different skills. So, public speaking and initiatives like Toastmasters help prepare kids for the jobs of the future. I believe every kid should be an entrepreneur, have the mindset of an entrepreneur. Whether they start their own business or not is really not the point. So we have an
everybody's in business.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer that either you own your own business, or even if you work at McDonald's, you're selling hours.
Absolutely.
Right. So you're always in business.
The economy, in the way that it's moving is, every person will become their own brand. And whether you're offering a service, to the public, or you're offering the service through a company, really teaching kids to understand the value that they bring to the market.
Interesting. So a lot of the things that you're talking about, or at least the way I'm hearing you're talking about them, are more pragmatics than what the kids are actually learning in school. Some of the things that we used to learn.
So if we look at kind of the recipe, right? The school system is providing a lot of the ingredients of what kids need to learn, right? All the core fundamentals that we expect our kids to learn. That doesn't mean that there aren't other areas that kids need to develop, right? We need to build leadership and character and expose them to enrichment programs and music and the arts. And so that's where the Boys and Girls Club comes in. We get to supplement all of the great work that teachers are doing and add those extra, components to a kid's, life. And by marrying the two together, what schools do and what Boys and Girls Clubs do, we're able to holistically serve the child and make sure that they're prepared for the world that's waiting for them to lead. And so at the end of the day, again, I bring it back to, being a mentor organization, building relationships with kids, helping them become successful, investing in their future, and just helping them find their voice and their passion. And whether it's math or sport or any one of the programs we offer, we want to make sure that kids are able to feel connected to a community and supported by the organization.
Are you dealing mostly in the lower income level, or are you dealing with all income levels?
I've never met a successful person that is self-made. Every person I've ever met that's successful in whatever field has benefited from the generosity of mentors. So I believe that every child, no matter their zip code, no matter their economic status, deserves a mentor in life. We are one of the largest boys and girls clubs in the country. We served 9,500 kids last year across 66 sites here in Orange County. And the bulk of that is going to be concentrated into the areas where the need is greatest. And so we do a lot of work to break the cycle of poverty, but that doesn't mean that that's the only thing that we do. Again, it doesn't matter where you come from or how much money your parents make. Everyone benefits from mentors. And I'm going to tell you this, abusive households, learning disabilities, any one of these things do not discriminate against your zip code or how much money your parents make. And so every child really does need this support system, no matter where they come from.
There's a lot that goes on in this. We're going to chat more about the Boys and Girls Clubs with Robert when we come back. Robert Santana.
Yep.
I've got to get my notes here. I'm a little slow this morning. It's I don't even know what day it is. What the heck? So we're going to talk more. We're going to learn more. It's funny because Robert's using the term mentor. I just spent a lot of time at an organization recently, and it's for lenders and private organizations. They all talk about same term, coaches, right? Every successful business owner has a coach. Every successful business has a board of directors. In this case, we're calling them mentors. It's all basically the same terminology, and everybody benefits. We're going to continue our educational system with Robert when we come back. Home builder confidence, we'll talk about that. And what credit score do you need to buy a car? All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Our house in the middle of our street.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, How will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or simply call 800-306-1990.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest, SLT Home Digest to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Home builder confidence hits an all-time record. Last week, the National Association of Home Builders reported their housing market index. It's easy for me to say, HMI. It hit an all-time high in the 35-year history of the series with a score of 83. The index gauges builder perceptions of current single-family home sales and sale expectations for the next 6 months, as well as the traffic of prospective buyers of new homes. And I've got a chart that I'm showing you right now. If you're watching us, confidence dropped dramatically when stay-in-place orders were originally mandated earlier this year. Since then, it has soared back. You can see that V-shaped chart that we've got there on the screen, looking at 3-month moving averages for HMI scores. Confidence increased in every region of the country. I'll just focus on the West. It increased 7 points to 85. Confidence is validated by the numbers. This confidence is definitely warranted, according to a recent NAHB report. Single-family housing starts increased 4.1% to a 1.02 million annual rate, and single-family permits increased 6% to a 1.04 million unit rate, meaning newly constructed homes are on the rise. A separate report from the Mortgage Bankers Association shows mortgage applications for new home purchases increased by 33.3% compared to a year ago. Joel Cann, Associate Vice President of Economic and Industry Forecasting at the NBA, commented on the numbers. I quote, "The housing market continued to exceed expectations in August as housing demand for new homes stayed strong and the job market continued to recover. The new home market has maintained its path of recovery throughout the summer, and record low mortgage rates, households seeking more space, will likely continue to drive demand into the fall," unquote. Bottom line, if you're thinking about putting your house on the market but are afraid you may not find a home to buy, let's connect to discuss new construction opportunities in our area. That is the real-time real estate segment, again, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest to 79564. Find your dream home before someone else does. Continuing our conversation this morning, we're talking about the Boys and Girls Club of Central Orange County. I guess this probably relates to all Boys and Girls Clubs, but I guess I should not make assumptions. So, Robert, are all the Boys and Girls Clubs doing the same type of thing, or is your group a little different than others?
I appreciate that question. So, there are, here in Orange County, we're very lucky that we have 14 Boys and Girls Club organizations, separate organizations. And so over the last, several months through this pandemic, we've all been collaborating more. We have a regular conference call with sharing resources, protocols, et cetera. And so by leveraging all that collective impact here in Orange County, we're really kind of putting together all of our brain power so that we can ensure that we're stepping up and doing whatever it takes to be there for our communities. Every Boys and Girls Club is different. We do share a common set of core values and set of mission. But what makes the Boys and Girls Club movement special across this country, we're the largest youth organization in America. What makes us special is that we're a collective, unit, and that we share philosophies and core values. But we're all customized to the communities that we're serving. So what you might see in Tempe may be different than what you see in Florida. But what we see here in Orange County and in the LA market and in San Diego is, there's a lot of similarity in the commitment that we have to serve those kids, especially in those low-income communities that are struggling, and especially during this pandemic. Everyone is seeing this crisis through a different lens.
Sure.
Right? We all are experiencing this through kind of a different.
And our own lens is the only one that we care about.
Well,
in so many instances, right? I mean, that because the shoe you're wearing is the tightest.
Well, I might offer a different perspective. Looking at it through the Boys and Girls, so what we're trying to do is understand that every family is experiencing this pandemic through a different lens. You are experiencing it different than I am.
Sure.
And so in your world, you do get to look at it from your view. But the Boys and Girls of especially the last several months, has really taken the time to listen to families, to find out where the pain is really concentrated the most. And what we've done is we've delivered food. We just hit our 100,000 meal mark here in Orange County a couple of weeks ago for meals that we're distributing to the folks that are food insecure and have no idea of where their next meal may come from. We've worked with the American Red Cross to organize blood drives so we can get blood to the hospitals that are in need. We've also opened up our clubs to offer emergency childcare for healthcare workers, nurses, first responders, etc. That during this crisis, a lot of us are working remotely. Not all career fields are designed that way, especially these essential workers and healthcare workers. Those folks have been on the front line, and they have kids. And so what we've done as an organization here across the county is opened our clubs, increased all of our safety guidelines. The term safety has just been completely redefined over the last year.
Absolutely. For the last 4 or 5 months, I mean, no one would have ever thought about having a mask that we are wearing at various times. So
yeah, I mean, as we look at the precautions that we're taking for cleaning our clubs and maintaining social distancing and all that, these are all things that no one would have ever thought about. But it's what's.
What about taking care of the kids? I mean, one of the things that I know is a reported fact, I don't know that it's true because I don't see it firsthand, is you hear that one of the side effects of the coronavirus is the fact that there's a lot more child abuse and abuse of spousal abuse, abuse in general. Do you guys see that? Are you able to mitigate? Are you able to report? Are you able to help?
Our staff are trained and by law are considered mandated reporters, which means that we're required by law to report any signs or suspicions of abuse. We knew going into this crisis that abusive households don't all of a sudden become non-abusive households. And so the reason that there's a rise during times like this is that families are under a lot more pressure than normal. They're spending a lot more time with each other. There's obviously a lot more, if you were a drinker before, you're going to drink more.
More opportunity in a negative way.
That's a perfect storm for abusive households. I will say that, we're serving less kids in person than we were before because, the capacity of our buildings with, maintain distancing. Our biggest vulnerability right now is that we have to look for these signs through Zoom and through our phone calls and follow-ups if we're not able to see them in person. But that's certainly a vulnerability. Is abusive households didn't stop, being abusive. The other thing that we have to really think about is just the emotional toll that this has taken, not just on you and I as adults, because we're feeling it, the stress and the tension of that, but kids especially. Kids are not conditioned; they're not developed yet to take on this level of stress. And what I'm concerned about is certainly the long-term effect of the emotional damage that we're going to see, as well as just the isolation. We're human beings. We're designed to be around each other. We crave interaction. So when we don't have that, it doesn't bring out the best of us. And so, hopefully with the things that we're doing as an organization, we're connecting the kids via Zoom. We're actually, all of our clubs are open, so we're serving kids as we speak right now. Kids are in our Boys and Girls Clubs. And then it's the family side. So we've been doing pizza nights, game nights as a family on Zoom. And the idea is this is not normal. Let's not sugarcoat it. This is not normal. But when we can do as much as possible within the safety kind of protocols to provide some normalcy, I think it goes a long way. I mean, being able to talk to someone and connect with them. We may not be, physically connected with each other right now, but we want to make sure that people don't feel that they're completely isolated.
Well, there's a reason that the punishment in the penal system is whatever they call that, solitary confinement, right? So when we're stuck at home, and you and I are able to articulate that, the kids are just depressed. They don't know why, right? So it's a good thing that you're able to. How do you deal with the delivery 100,000 meals?
Well, so we do a food program in partnership with Sept Harvest Food Bank. It's a box of food that we distribute to families. Depending on the size of the family, we give them more than one box. And then that food, that box of groceries is to the family of 4 for a few days. So we've distributed consistently from the very beginning of this pandemic through this partnership, and we've distributed 100,000 meals through that partnership. We also, so if you look at it, you take kind of the food part out of it, what we've built is a distribution center, right?
Sure.
And so we have the logistics, the protocols for us to be able to get resources out to the community. So in addition to food, every couple of weeks we'll add books. And so all of a sudden you get food and you get books. We handed out thousands of books. The average low-income family has 0 to 3 age-appropriate books for their kids.
Wow.
So think about kids are spending a lot more time at home, so they don't have access to the school library like they normally do. We'll be getting thousands of books out to kids so they own these books. Laptops and Wi-Fi jetpacks, we've been distributing those out to the community, making sure that kids have the devices that they need in order to connect to the world. They refer to this as the digital divide. We've been speaking about this crisis for years.
We're going to have to hold that and talk about it when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Digital divide. What the heck is that? And maybe you can help. We'll talk more about that with Robert as well. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area-trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Most businesses struggle to get the online reviews they need to get a competitive edge over their competition. Rex is a brand new technology that uses text messages to direct happy clients to your online review sites, Zillow, Google, Facebook, and Yelp, and unhappy clients to a private survey, so businesses can win more customers. Try Rex today by going to www.meetrex.com.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
You have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership. What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRE NMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So one of the fun things about doing a daily radio broadcast is sometimes I get to drive our producers and engineers a little bit nutty and call an audible on air. So we're not going to do our story for Your Credit Matters today, but I will tell you the Your Credit Matters segment is brought to you by mysocallender.com. mysocallender.com, and I'll just leave their information along the bottom of the screen because I want to hear more about the Boys and Girls Club. Central Orange County is what we're talking about specifically today. Robert Santana, their CEO, is in the house, and we are getting an education because I don't know about you, but I knew the Boys and Girls Clubs were around. I knew they did good stuff. I knew they were obviously servicing boys and girls. I thought it was all just underprivileged or poverty-stricken. I've learned more about that today. If you haven't got that information, about how the mentor need is not zip code specific. Talked about that earlier in the broadcast. So if you missed that, check it out. We'll have the broadcast posted probably the next couple hours on the ronsiegelradio.com website in the archives right there. But we were talking about a digital divide before the break, and explain that, Robert, if you would.
So this is something that, it's not a new term to this pandemic, but, we benefit from the advancement of technology, right?
Sure.
We all, we get a new.
I don't have any equipment on my desk here at all.
And so we live in this great, exciting time that technology is where it's at, right? And I've told this story a few times publicly, but I read this article a few years ago about the International Space Station and the team in Houston emailing them plans for a wrench, and then the team up at the space station printed it on a 3D printer. I'm reading this article a few years ago, and I'm thinking, this isn't a real story. This sounds like a fake story. The fact that we can email a wrench into space and they can print it while they're up there. And it was a great opportunity for us as an organization, because I told that story to our staff just to explain how advanced we've become as a society, right? And that we live in the age where we can email wrenches into space. Right?
Wow.
We think about all the devices, and you buy a phone, and as soon as you buy it, it's outdated, right? And then you think about, low-income families and how they don't have access to almost any of those, areas of technology. They may not have access to the internet. And so that's what's referred to as the digital divide. It's the gap between where technology is and the access that low-income families have. And so this is when we put on our empathy hat, right? When we think about others, it's easy to say, well, I have it, right? So, I'm fine. But the threat is that if we don't prepare all kids for the global economy, eventually we're going to have a large segment of young people that become adults that are not equipped to go into the workforce. And so
Sure.
I can tell you that one of the biggest complaints I hear from employers is that when they put out a job, they have a hard time finding qualified applicants. So we have a vested interest to build kids and support them, help them grow these skills. So what we do is we close that digital divide by making sure that kids have access to these technologies in the Boys and Girls. So we get them technology in their home. If a kid doesn't know how to navigate the internet, imagine how disconnected they are from the world, right? We also have to think about all of the safety.
The things we take it for granted, right? I mean, we got a device in our hand all the time that we're always connected, and not everybody is able to spend $1,000 on a device.
It's, in some cases, it's the access to the technology, and it's just getting comfortable with it, right? So imagine, the first time that you touch a device and you don't know how to turn it on, you don't know how to navigate the internet. The internet is by far one of the biggest superpowers that we have as a society, right? And, we talk about cyborgs and all that stuff. It's here. We are connected to technology. Every one of us has a super computer at our fingerprints. But imagine if you don't have that, right? The internet's one of our greatest assets. It's one of our greatest strengths, but it also is extremely dangerous for someone that doesn't know how to navigate the internet, especially for young people. So we need to teach them how to use the internet appropriately and safely so that they are not victims to any predators. We need to make sure they understand the difference between good information and bad information on the internet, what's reliable and what's not. And so by teaching
There's a lot of adults that need that education.
I agree. And so, as we look at closing this divide, and breaking the cycle of poverty, making sure that everyone is connected, it really is about making sure that we think about others, and think that, all kids deserve this opportunity, again, to have a mentor, to have a support system. But this crisis is a good example. It highlighted the digital divide like never before. There's been people like me that have been talking about the divide for years, and it took this crisis to completely shut down schools, force all kids to have to go distance learning, for us to, as a society, realize not all kids have a device at home. Not all kids have the ability to sit down at a desk and study, and have that learning environment. Not all kids have access to the internet. Some of the biggest challenges of the last few months has been getting internet into neighborhoods. In Santa Ana, the school district started deploying vans into neighborhoods that have Wi-Fi repeaters, just so they can get Wi-Fi.
I think I heard that they were using the school buses.
And so they're deploying vans and buses, and so it just goes to show you again what we take for granted, right? We complain if
it's too slow,
right? And so we have to think about some of these things may not be huge issue for us, in general, but it's the biggest difference between getting someone connected to the rest of the world. And imagine going through this pandemic and not being connected, even.
Well, think about some of the other things that you and I have been talking about on the air and off. There's a huge need in our society. We put too much emphasis on going for higher education, in my opinion, and not enough emphasis in the great jobs: a plumber, an electrician, a carpenter. We need all those people. Right? They're huge. Yeah. And I know when I was in school, I had to learn how to rebuild a car engine. Right? They don't do that anymore.
I agree to some degree. I would consider the apprentice type programs or any specialized trade school in the category of higher education. I believe that if all you have is a high school diploma and that is it, you're not prepared for the global economy. What we know as a fact is that someone with a college degree compared to someone without a college degree is going to make at least $1 million more over the course of their lifetime. And someone with only a high school diploma is almost locked into a life in poverty. So I am an advocate for higher education. I am an advocate that every
I guess it depends on how you define higher education.
Yeah, I think that pursuing some form of additional learning post high school. I don't believe that a 4-year traditional university is a fit for everyone.
That's really my point. It's not a fit for everyone. It's a fit for certain people. They should take that path.
Yep.
And the person that wants to go out and be a mechanic or build a car or build a house, I'll tell you this. I can tell you for sure. I've seen a lot of tax returns. Plumbers and linesmen make a lot more money than a lot of doctors and attorneys we've dealt with. But I want to get into a different area because we've only got a couple minutes left. Tell us how we can help the Boys and Girls Club.
Sure. This is especially a time where the Boys and Girls Club needs the community more than ever. So I want to kind of make a specific point. What makes the Boys and Girls Club very special in our community is that we're not a fee-driven organization. We don't go out and offer services and then charge those families that we serve for what it costs to run programs. The majority of our budget is funded through private philanthropy. You know, the person that writes that $100 check, and you know, us doing special events and fundraisers and online giving, etc. So the entire lifeblood of the Boys and Girls Club is the community coming together and making kids a priority. How you can support is by visiting our website, www.boysandgirlsclub.com. That is to find our Boys and Girls Club, the Boys and Girls Club of Central Orange Coast. We serve the communities of Santa Ana, Newport Beach, Irvine, Orange, and Costa Mesa. To find another Boys and Girls Club, there's this secret website that you told me about earlier, Google, right? And so you go to this secret website, Google, and you just find Boys and Girls Club. It'll connect you to your nearest organization, and I highly encourage you to connect with them and find a way to support, whether it's volunteering or writing a check or just sharing their.
I'm sure they need some of everything, but you can give me a call also at 800-306-1990. I know where to get a hold of Robert. So as always, I do ask you, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to John and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.